Epicus, a great thinker of Stoicism, said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak." Such simple words, but so profound in their implications about the very nature of our conversations. The many teachings of Stoicism point us in the direction of useful and balanced interactions. However, there are subtleties and nuances within these teachings. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like the video so that you can support me in continuing to spread the Stoic philosophy. Often overshadowed by the more famous lessons, today we embark on a journey to uncover 7 subjects that it might be prudent to sidestep in our dialogues. Come along as we delve into these lesser discussed tenets, arming ourselves with the knowledge to engage more thoughtfully and serenely in the world. If you aren't already a subscriber, I suggest you do so and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos about the subject. Number 1. Flaws of other people. We've all been in situations, maybe during a coffee break or in a chat room, where the conversation slowly changes from light conversation to talking about someone else's actions, choices, or personality. The allure of gossip can be strong, but what do we really get out of it? At its core, it keeps us from growing as people, sowing seeds of negativity in our minds and the environment around us. For instance, imagine being at a family dinner where Aunt Martha's penchant for being perennially late becomes the evening's gist. Or think about those times in the office pantry when colleagues gather murmuring about someone's attire that might not meet the standard. These conversations might offer a brief, fleeting sense of camaraderie or superiority, but they erode the bonds of trust and companionship over time. A common misconception is that discussing others' flaws makes us more vigilant about our own. However, it does the opposite. Continual focus on external flaws can make us complacent about our internal growth. Instead, if we channel that energy towards understanding our own behaviors and attitudes, we stand to gain so much more. And it's worth remembering Marcus Aurelius' words in moments like these: waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Isn't it more enriching to lead by example, demonstrating virtue in our actions and words? There's a certain serenity that comes with consciously deciding not to partake in gossip or needless criticism. The next time you find yourself in such a situation, you could consider guiding the conversation towards a more positive topic, or simply choose to listen without contributing. This not only preserves your peace of mind, but also subtly encourages a more uplifting environment for everyone involved. In essence, by refraining from discussing others' flaws, we're not just avoiding negativity, we're making a proactive choice to foster positivity, trust, and growth, both within us and in our circles. In our digital age, where a quick scroll through social media frequently presents us with displays of wealth and managed success, subject number 2 is your personal wealth or lack of it. Discussing personal wealth or the lack of it has become dangerous. On the one hand, there is the pressure to keep up with the Jonesies, and on the other, there is the fear of being seen as lacking. But beneath these discussions and comparisons, there is a turbulent undercurrent of feelings: envy. You're at a gathering where friends are discussing their recent vacations, and you feel pride, insecurity, or even despair. One went to the Maldives and stayed in a villa on the water, while the other strolled through the romantic streets of Paris. When you feel a pang, like maybe you couldn't afford a trip this year, or chose to save for something else, your first instinct might be to defend your choices or share a similar or opposite experience from the past to level the playing field. When the subject of money comes up at a dinner with friends, you might be tempted to brag about your recent successes, not entirely out of arrogance, but perhaps to share your joy. However, as the words flow, you notice the subtle changes in body language, including your friend's sad eyes or someone's nice but faraway smile. Out of the blue, a fun gathering takes on a different tone. In the middle of these forces, it's helpful to remember what Epicus taught. Wealth is not having many things, but having few wants. In contrast, feeling content with our financial status regardless of societal standards is an empowering stance that frees us from the emotional roller coaster of constant comparison. To cultivate a Stoic approach to wealth, realizing this can help us have more honest and peaceful conversations. After all, the richest things in life are not money, but the depth of our relationships, the goodness of our character, and the peace of our minds. Past grievances, subject number 3. It's analogous to carrying a heavy backpack on a long journey when dealing with past grievances. It's human nature to remember wrongs done to us, whether they were big betrayals or small slights. But constantly discussing or reliving these grievances not only makes the burden heavier, but also keeps us from fully experiencing the present moment and the potential joys it brings. Think of an old friend, Alice, with whom you have many memories. Years have passed, and you've had many happy occasions since that one summer when she missed your birthday party due to a mistake. However, every time you both meet, the memory of that party lingers in your minds. Instead of focusing on the present friendship and bond, conversations tend to keep going back to that one problem. When we work through these emotions, remembering Seneca's words can help us see things in a new light. The best way to calm down when we're angry is to wait before responding to wrongs and making them stick in our minds. It's not about forgetting or undermining one's feelings, but about consciously choosing not to let past events dictate our present emotions and conversations. Giving ourselves time to process and reflect allows us to approach the situation with a clearer, more balanced mind. Additionally, many grievances that seemed monumental in the moment often lose their intensity by continuously discussing past situations. In essence, discussing past grievances can feel momentarily validating, but true growth and peace come from introspection, understanding, and ultimately releasing them. When we forgive, let go, and release these grievances, we not only free our souls, but also make room for more positive experiences and relationships to flourish. The past can teach us, but it should not be our guide. Predicting the future, subject number 4. Through analyzing patterns in nature and looking for answers in the stars, the human mind has always been fascinated by the thought of predicting the future. In this age of data and computers, our ancestors also tried to figure out what the future held. This quest is still going on, though it takes different forms. While planning and foresight are good things, trying to guess every possible outcome can become stressful and tiring. Let's put ourselves in Maya's shoes. She is a young woman who is about to finish college. There are a lot of options, but there are also a lot of unknowns. Every time I have dinner with my family, we start speculating about job prospects, possible places to move to, and the nature of the economy over the next 5 years. Friends constantly talk about possible career paths, comparing chances and prospects. As a result, Maya feels a lot of stress and pressure, not from the present, but from all the possible futures that she can't predict. As these waves of uncertainty and anxiety rise, it's worth considering Seneca's observation that we suffer more in our imaginations than in reality. While it's sensible and even smart to be well-informed and ready, constantly discussing and speculating about an uncertain future can magnify imagined difficulties and turn them into looming threats. More often than not, many of these predicted scenarios never materialize, or if they do, they're rarely as terrifying as our minds imagined. What Stoicism shows us here is how important it is to live in the present instead of getting lost in the maze of what if. It's about putting our feet on the what is. While we can't change every aspect of the future, we can control our actions and reactions in the present. By spending less time speculating, we can focus our efforts on taking steps that are important and align with our values and goals while also discussing potential. It's essential to find a balance between the future and the present. The true beauty of life is in awe of the hues of the present moment, secure in our capacity to change and thrive, rather than in predicting every sunrise and sunset. Minor controversies, subject number 5. The magnetic pull of controversy is deeply woven into the fabric of our social interactions. It feeds our natural curiosity and desire for connection, even if it's over issues that, in the grand scheme of things, might seem unimportant. For example, matters may seem unimportant at first glance, but their insidious nature lies in their capacity to consume our mental bandwidth and divert our focus from actions of genuine substance. Aspiring young writer Jenna knows this all too well. On a sunny Sunday morning with a fresh cup of coffee in hand, she sits down to write a few chapters of her book. But a buzzing notification on her phone draws her attention to a social media trend. She reads a comment, then another person writes a response, and soon she is lost in a rabbit hole of opinions and counter-opinions. Hours later, the page she meant to fill with her creativity is still blank, and her original excitement is a distant memory. From Jenna's experience, it's easy to see how these small distractions can add up to big problems in our personal and professional lives if we let them. They change the topics of our conversations, take over our free time, and most worryingly start to shape our self-worth and perception based on short-lived, often shallow measures. In situations like these, the sage advice of Epicus tells us that what matters is how we respond to what happens to us. This quote reminds us that we can't always control the controversies that happen around us, but we do have control over how we react to them. By choosing where to focus our attention, we can reclaim our mental space and make sure it's reserved for things that are in line with our values and goals. But how do we develop this ability to discern? It starts with being self-aware. If we regularly think about why we're involved in a controversy, we can tell if it's because we're interested or just because it's what we do. It's also helpful to choose the information sources we use, making sure that what we read fits with our goals and values. Diving into the vast ocean of controversies is a choice, but with awareness and intention, we can sail these waters. We stay anchored in deep and meaningful conversations and avoid the fleeting whirlpools that try to pull us in. The path to discernment is a never-ending one, but with every conscious choice we make, we inch closer to a life of purpose. Vain displays of knowledge, subject number 6. Flaunting knowledge for no real reason is like hiding treasures in a chest and showing them off for short-lived admiration instead of using them to improve your own life or the lives of others. For example, Aurelius was a huge reader who always had a book with her. Over time, her love of learning gave her a huge amount of knowledge on a wide range of topics. But when people started to admire her intelligence, she changed her mind and stopped sharing her knowledge with them. While it's commendable to be well-informed and knowledgeable, the essence of acquiring wisdom is not just in its accumulation, but in its appropriate application. When used as a tool for vanity, it can turn from a bridge that connects people to a wall that distances them. Seneca once said that the only way to be truly happy is to enjoy the present without worrying about what will happen in the future. This could mean genuinely enjoying the process of learning and sharing knowledge without constantly proving oneself or seeking approval. Reciting facts is not a true demonstration of knowledge. Rather, it is applying them in a useful way to help understanding, fostering connections, and improving ourselves and others. In our journey of continuous learning, it is essential to frequently reflect on and evaluate our goals. It is about knowing when to speak, what to share, and how to communicate so that the essence of the message is not lost in the noise of wanting to be recognized. Obsessive knowledge criticism, subject number 7. In an era where perfection is often celebrated, it's common for many of us to hold ourselves to incredibly high standards. While aiming for excellence can drive progress, relentlessly critiquing every action and thought can become counterproductive. The excitement of beginning a new project or the satisfaction of finishing a task can quickly be overshadowed by the persistent voice that asks, "Was it good enough?" Embedded within this challenge is a Stoic reminder. Instead of motivating, constant internal scrutiny can become a deterrent, hinder spontaneity, reduce creativity, and even impact overall well-being. Thoughts on Life by Marcus Aurelius. Think positively and your life will change. If you think negatively all the time, your reality will reflect that. But if you can control your thoughts, you can change your reality. To get out of this loop of self-criticism, you have to recognize and fight these negative thoughts about yourself. It's about understanding the difference between wanting to get better and putting oneself down for no reason. It might help to ask yourself if you would give a friend the same amount of criticism you give to yourself. Often, we are our own worst critics. By celebrating small wins and understanding that the path to success is often nonlinear, we can navigate our journey with a balanced perspective, embracing both our strengths and areas for improvement. In essence, obsessive self-criticism can be a formidable obstacle, but fostering a growth mindset where mistakes are seen as stepping stones and not stumbling blocks can help. We can find a balance that drives progress without sacrificing well-being by developing a growth mindset that is based on compassion and understanding. On our journey through life, understanding the nature of our conversations, both internal and external, can have a big impact on our experiences and perceptions.